Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to week 4. This week you have been learning about micronutrients. So I hope you're enjoying hearing about some nutrients, some micronutrients that function in your body, have very important roles that maybe you weren't even aware of. So this is usually the lesson that a lot of times people will say, I really learned a lot, because it's just not something we spend a lot of time on. We are going over questions from last week in today's chat, and these deal with exercise, and there was kind of a theme going. Many of you wanted to know some of the same information, so we're going to cover that today. The first question says, what exercises are best for someone with knee problems and lower back problems? And some other people asked about lower back, so I'm going to address first if you've got knee problems. A lot of times the knee problems are arthritis related, like osteoarthritis, which can develop as we get older. It can develop in athletes who do high impact sports. It can develop in people who've had car accidents that had impact. That was how I got osteoarthritis. So it can develop from injury. It can develop from someone that stands on their feet all day long on a hard surface. So if your knees bother you, some other types of exercise can be good. Look at biking, whether it's a regular bike. I mean, you rode the bike a lot probably when you were younger. Those skills don't go away. You can get back on a bike. You could do a recumbent bike, a stationary bike that you have in your house. Swimming is really good because swimming is non-weight bearing and it takes the pressure off the joints. However, you also want to have some weight-bearing exercise. One of my favorites is the elliptical. The elliptical gives you a circular motion on your joints. So you're weight-bearing, but you're not getting that impact because it's always a circular motion. So I encourage you either at a gym to try out the elliptical, or I finally invested in one about 4 years ago, and it was one of the best investments I've made. It is wonderful on my knees. If you want to do some walking so that you get weight-bearing exercises, you might consider buying some knee braces and some compression type braces that you can wear on your knees. I wear one on each knee when I go walking. It just gives me a little additional support for the joint, and that helps me. Consider if you have the right pair of shoes. Sometimes someone will have knee and back problems simply because the shoes they're wearing aren't the best that they could be using. Not in terms of price. More expensive doesn't necessarily mean the best, but is it supporting your feet and your legs and your hips in the way it should? So it might be worth going into a store that can help you make that decision. We have a local store, and they will put you on a treadmill and they will watch you walk. They'll videotape it, and then they can help you based on what they're seeing on the tape determine what's the best type of shoe for you, because not all tennis shoes, running shoes, walking shoes are created equal. They're created for different purposes, so check that out. Finally, I would recommend that consider working with a physical therapist for 1 or 2 visits if your knees are really bothering you. I went to a physical therapist for 3 visits. They gave me some exercises that would strengthen my knees. It strengthened my muscles and all the supporting tissues around my knees. That will help. And finally, consider your weight. Losing weight will take stress off those joints, and you will have less knee pain as you get the weight under better control. So what about the back pain? The worst thing you can do if you're having back pain is to do nothing at all. Our natural instinct is to lay on our backs or to sit down, because doing any type of activity can cause pain. However, you need to be moving and you need to strengthen your core. So a lot of times we're looking at core strength, which is the mid-body, and we're looking at lower body flexibility. So stretching is very important. We teach athletes how important it is to stretch, and our high school athletes. Yet as adults, we get older and we forget that's still very important. So you want to focus on stretching. And the walking isn't damaging anything if it hurts your back. Some of my clients want to quit. They think it's going to make it worse. But so if the impact of walking is causing you pain, consider biking and swimming that we talked about with the others. Now, I checked with one of our faculty here at K-State. She is an athletic trainer, and so she has worked with a wide range of age groups in terms of pains and discomforts while exercising. She recommended a website. His name is Mike Renaud, and I have posted that website for you. And when I went to his website, he says that one of the reasons you can be having lower back pain is because of a loss of hip extension, which is basically a loss of hip mobility. And that happens to all of us as we get older. And so the link that I've posted is going to take you to one of his videos where he shows you some exercises you can do to help with hip extension. He is a physical therapist and a sports trainer, so check that out. What about someone with cancer who wants to remain fit? And we do know that exercising while you are living with cancer can improve your quality of life and also help you function better physically. So I've also listed a website from the American Cancer Society page that will give you suggestions on exercising while living with cancer. It really varies on the type of cancer you have, what stage of cancer you're in, what kind of treatment you're going through for the cancer, and what your current health conditions are like in terms of your stamina, your flexibility, and strength. So check this link out and you'll find some very helpful information. How about exercise for people with balance issues? And a lot of my older clients have balance issues. So some things you can do is walk on a treadmill where the treadmill needs to have handles on each side though so that you can hang on. Some treadmills there's nothing. So find a treadmill that's got the handles, the bars on the side or the bars up front and you can hang on while you're walking. You can also walk in place while holding onto a chair. Some of my adults in particular, because they don't have good balance, I don't even want them outdoors on uneven sidewalks. And so I tell them, find a good TV show, put a chair in their living room, and walk in place while holding on to the back of the chair. And again, for someone with balance issues, the elliptical's good because you've got handlebars in front and you've got the handles on the side that you can use. Yoga. Yoga can be very helpful with your balance. Even though yoga requires balance to do some of the moves, the more you do it, the better your balance will get. And earlier when I talked about back pain and needing core strength, yoga really helps with developing your core strength also. So I encourage you to check out yoga as a form of exercise, and you can find some YouTube videos also if you don't have classes near you or don't feel comfortable getting out in a class. So check some of those videos out. And again, for balance issues, swimming is also really good. What can be substituted for walking when you have joint problems? So the recommendation we've all heard, try to get your 10,000 steps in. And we've mentioned swimming, but again, swimming's not always feasible, especially if it's in the wintertime and you're not near a YMCA or something like that. So when you have joint problems, I just want to mention again, check the fitness of your shoes, consider yoga, that's going to help. And biking, I'm going to go back to the bike and the elliptical. Both of those will be good substitutes for doing the walking. They're both still cardiovascular exercises. The elliptical in particular can count as weight-bearing exercise. So if you can't walk, look at those two options. What kind of snacks should I have before I exercise? It really depends on the type of exercise. If you're doing a brisk walk or a light jog, that's not going to last very long, an hour or less, you really can't do that on an empty stomach. You just need some fluids such as water. But if you prefer to eat something ahead of time, that's fine too. If I'm going for an hour or less, I just hydrate. I don't eat first. If you're going more than an hour or it's very intense exercise, you do need some easy to digest carbs so that your muscles have fuel available to them. Some examples, a packet of instant grits, a slice of toast, half of a plain bagel, a banana, fruit cocktail. All of those things are going to give you fuel. And what I do anytime I'm going more than an hour, I take diluted Gatorade as an example with me. You could also do diluted fruit juice because I'm thirsty when I'm going that long. And so I'm refueling my muscles with a little bit of carbohydrates through the fluids. The meals that you eat beforehand should be low fat, low in fiber, because we want them to empty out of the stomach quickly so that they're available for the muscles. And make sure that it's made up of foods that you enjoy and that you know you can tolerate. After you eat is very important. You need to eat within 1 hour, preferably, to replenish your glycogen stores. And you also want to include protein along with your carbohydrates because the muscles need the protein for repair. And your muscles don't care where the protein comes from. You can do a hard-boiled egg. Chocolate milk is my favorite because it tastes good. I'm thirsty. I'm getting carbohydrates and protein. You can do protein shakes. So it's whatever you like. And you only need 10 to 20 grams of protein for the muscle repair. So don't overdo it on your muscle intake. Someone asked about the set point in terms of weight. The set point theory says that one of the reasons it's hard to lose weight and maintain weight is our body always wants to go back to a certain weight. And that's why it's called the set point weight. It's one of the theories out there. Some research studies support that that does happen. But we know that that doesn't mean we're not going to be able to get to the weight we want and be able to hold it. It just means you're probably going to work really hard at it. So as you're losing weight, in order to not go back up to what may be a set point, you really need to focus on calories first. Exercise is important, and exercise, particularly with weight maintenance, is very beneficial and helps you be successful, but really focus on your calories. So you need to know how many calories you're eating. Go back to tracking like we talked in the first lesson. Focus on your portion sizes. You may want to switch up your exercise routine. And if you find that eating 1,600 calories seems to cause you to regain some of your weight, you're probably going to have to maybe go to 1,400 as an example. And everybody is different. So it's a matter of trying it out. But most people really don't know how much they're eating. They say they do, but they really don't. Portion sizes, they don't. There was a question on traveling, and they get the walking in, but in the hotel, what are some of the exercises they can do that will strengthen the upper parts of the body? Google. There are a lot of links to websites and suggestions for how to exercise in the hotel. I just put in hotel exercising and had a lot of things to pick. And I did post one link that I thought looked pretty good with today's video, but it's going to show you how you can use chairs, tables, walls in order to get upper body workouts. Pack some resistance bands with you, and you can use those to do strength training in your hotel room. They don't take up any space. And of course, if it's a hotel with a fitness center, then they're going to have some weights, and make sure you know how to use the weights. Now, Elizabeth asked a question about when she does exercises, she gets sore elbows and knees, and should she wear a compression brace to prevent this? I wanted to ask our athletic trainer what they would recommend, and she's been with students all morning. So Elizabeth, I'll get back to this. I'm going to post the answer to your question on that question list. So I will have something for you. I just wasn't able to get it in time today. We have got just a couple more questions, so this is going to be a shorter session. Someone asked, what's the best exercises for increasing weight, and what exercises should they stay away from so that they're not burning so many calories and losing weight? You want to focus on strength training because the strength training promotes the muscle growth. And muscle is dense and compact, and so it's going to cause you to gain weight if you can increase your muscle mass. And I recommend that if you have never done strength training, it would be good if you could have one session with a trainer so they can show you the proper technique, help you identify how many repetitions and how many sets you should be doing. The most important thing in order to enhance the muscle growth is recovery. Your muscles grow during the recovery time. At the time you are doing the strength training, you're tearing down the muscle. And then you have to let them rest. And when they rest, they repair themselves and they grow even bigger. So make sure you understand that concept. Don't do the same upper body workout for 3 days in a row. You're constantly tearing down muscle and never giving it a chance to recover. So read up on that if you're not familiar with that. And then I've already mentioned the nutrition about what to eat afterwards. The same rules apply. In order for your muscles to grow, you need to replenish the carbohydrates and offer the protein. So go back to the suggestions where I talked about earlier. Try to refuel within an hour of completing your session. Some of the foods I had already mentioned, some other ideas that are high in carbohydrates and protein. A smoothie using Greek yogurt, peanut butter on a bagel. That's one of my favorite ones after I've worked out. I've had some clients, they really like turkey sandwiches. So I posted a link for the American Council on Exercise, ACE, and it's got information. They have a webpage that said how to gain weight with strength training. Finally, the last question. What exercise do you recommend for someone with active lupus? And lupus is an inflammatory condition that when you have flare-ups, it's very uncomfortable and it can make it hard to exercise. Exercise actually helps reduce inflammation. And if you overdo the exercise, you can trigger symptoms coming on, and particularly the joints. So you want to be careful to not over-exercise when you're doing it. So start off with low-impact exercises such as the walking, the biking, the swimming, and the yoga. Start slowly, advance gradually, and write down your symptoms. Write down how you're feeling at the time. And keep track for 1 to 2 days afterwards how you feel, because sometimes the symptoms may not show up right away. So by recording what you're doing, what the intensity, how long it was, and tracking your symptoms, you can start to see how your body's going to respond. And the Arthritis Foundation has some videos. It's called Tai Chi for Arthritis, and the videos have shoulder exercises and videos for stretching the spine and the neck. And I've also posted the link for that. So it's a good website to go to, that if you have joint pain for whatever reason, the Arthritis Association has a good section on exercise and how it can help you. So I hope this information has been helpful. Be sure and check out the additional links that I posted for you. And the discussions are going great. You're continuing advice to each other, and I appreciate that as well as the rest of the class. So thank you for participating, and we will visit again next week. Bye.